Michael Skura, thanks for joining us on the Illinois Channel. And here we are at the Illinois Association of School Boards annual conference, but we are surrounded in this corner by artwork, and I think you want to make the point about the arts in the school and its impact. Tell us about that.
Sure, and real quick, there are two different organization shows represented here: Illinois High School Art Exhibition, as well as the Illinois Art Education Association, representing K through 12 artwork made throughout the state of Illinois, southern, central, east, and west, north corridors. So art, we believe, is an avenue where creativity happens in a unique way in the classroom, and that I would say and argue that that's a unique skill that our teachers have to help foster ways of thinking that will help prepare students in whatever their vocation is in the future. Parenting, for Pete's sake, it's an incredible ability not to think linear, but to think in ways of putting ideas together and come up with out-of-the-box thinking.
And you kind of answered a question I was going to ask. You know,
Sure.
a lot of people will listen to this and go, what's the point of teaching art? Because if you're artistic, it's one thing, you're probably going to express it anyway. And if you're not artistic, no matter how much you teach, you're still going to be a bad painter or a bad scribbler or whatever. But maybe, as you just touched on, I've once thought of the term the tyranny of left-brained people. In other words, those who are mathematicians and born that way and go with numbers or think linearly, that's fine, and we need those. But other people who are creative, the world is not always linear.
Right.
When you're writing a composition, when you're writing a song, when you're doing a painting,
Right.
the interpretation, and I think this is somewhat and we may have someone who's an accountant, as you just alluded to. When they have children, maybe they have a very creative person. It would be good to be able to relate to your child in some way, right?
Sure, and what's our unique position is to help foster something that I would say everyone has in them. Like language, creative and art making, mark making was one of the first things people did when they were real little. And unfortunately, sometimes we're in an environment where that doesn't get fostered and advocated for. And others of us are in places maybe in privilege where we can advocate and foster that. And my hope in my role is to continue to push and encourage all citizens of Illinois to have that experience of creativity. And what's unique is there is a wonderful stories out there, anecdotal stories of where companies are saying, I love it when I find out that my engineer has an art degree, or my accountant has an art degree, or my software designer has an art degree. I find that they are really helpful in helping us think outside the box. So it's an incredible work skill that people are looking for, kind of like a dual language, if you will, but it is helping companies see many more possibilities and helping them be successful.
What are some of the main, when people ask you what's the mission of the Illinois Arts Education Association, how do you respond?
Yeah, our mission is to equip fellow art teachers, to educate the citizens of Illinois about what we offer as art educators, to advocate for students. Probably the most important is to advocate for students, to help make sure they have access to fully qualified, professional art teachers who can help bring out the best in them as young people.
It's been many decades since I've been in a high school, and probably that's true for a lot of people. Is art regularly part of the schedule now in teaching? And to what extent are we hear all these anecdotal stories about teachers having to buy their kids crayons or pencils and stuff. So do we have art in the classroom, and are the arts funded so that you can complete your mission?
Yeah, it's both and so it's all depending on what community you're part of, and and also the personality of people in your district. I would say the state of Illinois, Illinois State Board of Education, ISB, Illinois School Board of Education, ISB, they have part of their policy is that every student should have access to, at the secondary level, an arts education. Now, that doesn't mean necessarily they'll take it, but they at least have access to it. There's other.
So it's an elective?
It is an elective, and in various school districts, you do have graduation requirements in the fine arts, but that can be music and that, or dance, theater, visual arts. What I would say is that the arts are the dawn, the horizon of positive movement of the arts is in front of us, with ESSA coming up, supporting the arts.
And ESSA is what?
ESSA is Every Student Succeeds Act that was passed by our federal government that helps bolster and support various indicators within a district and receiving federal money at each state. And Illinois is unique in that we are on the verge of being the only state in the union to have a comprehensive K through 12 arts indicator for music, arts, dance, theater, and media arts. And we're really excited about that. And we're excited that the ISB will take our proposal here soon, and that for a lot of districts this is going to be an opportunity to showcase what they're doing really well. And for other districts, it's going to be a great opportunity to say, this is great. This law allows us to have access to resources to help support the arts that we know is very much an intricate part of a young citizen of Illinois, but we just needed the assistance and support to help with our district.
And as we stand here and we see various forms of art behind you, the printed art, painted art, on the other hand, as you alluded to, not all art is in the physical. It might be the writing of a song or the performing of a stage play.
Yeah, exactly. And I would say that our goal is to help students find their wheelhouse in a K through 12 setting. And for the arts, it's unique that we have access to three-dimensional art, computer media arts, traditional, even just conceptual art, that students could really truly find something that maybe they don't have a strong aptitude in hand-eye coordination, but they're really good with working with computers and taking ideas, or digital photography or analog photography. But also our colleagues on the other side of the aisle with music, choir, theater. I would argue that any number of those disciplines is a great opportunity for kids to find out something that they maybe knew that was in their heart and they're good at, and but it's the thing that's going to help them get up in the morning, get their head off the pillow and say, I want to go to school and I want this buy-in. I want to learn math, reading, writing, because I really want to be good as an artist in this great experience I'm having. I know the importance now.
I'm reminded, too, going back to the initial part where a lot of times people go, yeah, what good does it do? And you probably hear that as well, what to learn art and all this, the critics. But from the commercialization, rather than thinking about the starving artist as we kind of throw back 100 years to Van Gogh, when one looks at the dollars that are performed on Broadway, not just Broadway, but plays across America, the amount of money, what saved Apple was the downloading of songs on iTunes. So it might have taken a mathematician to make the Apple software, but it took a creative person to make people want to use it.
Right. Yeah, those are great anecdotal stories that show the arts partnering with more linear thinking and more kind of absolutes, if you will, in people's different vocations. But here's the thing is that if people realize what is a society's legacy, what are they going to leave behind when history looks back at these various great cultures thousands of years ago, we're not necessarily looking at the commercial entrepreneur economic contribution, but they're looking at monuments, artwork, music, song, poetry. And I would argue that, what is a society in the state of Illinois, as well as the union, what are we going to leave as a legacy about the great story of the United States of America and also in Illinois. And I would argue saying that the arts have that possibility of fostering that for young people who can continue our story of what it means to be human, what it means to be part of the Chicagoland area, downstate, rural communities, suburban communities. It's an incredible opportunity to tell people's story.
Michael Skura, thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Mr. Martin. I appreciate your time.